Welcome back to the Catalyst Effect. I'm your host, Isaac Carter. Last October, we did an activation at Austin Tech Week, sponsored by Capital Factory. We met hundreds of amazing founders. In this episode, we're going to hear two conversations that hit real world of scaling companies from two angles. First, I'm joined by Ryan Lessing. He breaks down why AI has accelerated engineering output for some teams while creating breakdowns for others. The takeaway is simple. AI only increases velocity when you have strong architecture, tight context, and clearly defined requirements. Without guardrails, teams ship brittle systems, hide failures in the back end and business rules, and finally, eventually have to rebuild what they rushed. Then I'm joined by Aram Burnett. She explains why founders lose culture as they scale, not because growth breaks culture, but because culture was never operationalized to begin with. Values have to become systems, and leaders have to move from micromanaging tasks to empowering people with clarity and mission. Hiring has to shift from skill fit to growth capacity and alignment. And development has to be intentional, or promotions create failures. You know, if you love the Voice of the Founder series, hit like and follow for more content.
Welcome to the Catalyst Effect. Today I am your host, Isaac Carter. We are at Austin Tech Week, presented by Capital Factory. We're on the fifth floor just outside of the Connector Plus Lounge, and all week long we are talking to founders and really hearing the voice and the story of the founder. So I am here with Ryan Lessing from Protocoding.
What's up, everyone?
Ryan is an experienced podcaster, so you will have a more well-rounded conversation this time. We've been having some good talks so far. Ryan, tell us a little bit of your story. What brings you here? How did you get into being a founder?
Yeah, so I had this idea of let's basically start this nonprofit. We're going to raise a bunch of money to build this LLM, and then down the line, we'll just start charging people for it.
Okay, so we'll just call you
Just
like
like
Sam
OpenAI, yes.
And
No.
was Elon Musk in the room with you?
He was in the. There is a pending lawsuit. We're still working on that. But no, in all seriousness, what brings me here is I run Protocoding. We are a software consulting firm. We are within the DGB, which is essentially within the Draper network. And what we do primarily is we help startups, we help founders that need fractional development. And what does that mean? Let's say you're a founder out there and you need a CTO, or you need a lead engineer, or you need some type of expertise. But as a founder, you don't want to give up equity. Maybe you don't have a ton of investment, and really equity is going to get these partners in. Mm-hmm. So instead of doing that, we kind of fill that gap. And through this network, we've done this with over a dozen projects at this point, and we have active projects going on. So I come here. I actually have 3 employees in Austin who are all here with me. So we've been out here having a great time, meeting a lot of great founders and other just great developers and everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, very similar to what we do. We're all near shore. I'm the only U.S.-based employees. So
nice.
I was a data scientist for 25 years. So we really focus on either the ML, like large learning, not from the large language model, but from predictive analytics and large data set projects. Mm-hmm. And then we've gotten really into data-enabled mobile app development. So using mobile as part of the data collection and data interaction framework. Mm-hmm. And so we're doing a lot of medtech, fintech, some in the prop tech space. So I focus really heavily on what I'm good at, which is process improvement and data enablement in specific industries. So are you just across the board, whatever needs to be done, or do you have a specialty that you focus in?
That's a great question. Well, the trend now is AI development. There's so many projects we do now that are AI development. We actually do all the software for a mortgage company now too.
Okay.
So we're pretty diverse, but really the trending topic is, how can we utilize an LLM? How can we build a wrap around an LLM to better utilize it better? That's a good amount of projects we do. How do we train it to do, use agents to do something more specifically? It's very diverse. That's probably the best way to answer it. And it's really more of us coming in as the experts.
Nice. So I've had, and we can maybe have a little bit more of a technical conversation than I can have with some of the other founders. I think you're pretty technical, right?
I was a coder. I was at Microsoft and Walmart for about 12 years, and then
Okay.
within the past year, I've been doing this full time. And what's unfortunate is I'm now completely abstracted from coding almost. I still help create technical tickets, but I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be coding every single day, and now I'm in a different role, and it's interesting. It's an interesting trade-off of the role I'm in now.
So what I've found is a lot of people, like you look on LinkedIn and everybody's like, oh, look at the crap that you get from Cursor. Look at how horrible you.
Oh,
these,
the vibe coded slop?
coding
Yeah.
stuff. And what I found is if a properly trained engineer sits down with the right requirements, the right guardrails, and has the right framework, they can build something very quickly. And I'm not talking about a marketing professional sitting down with Cursor and putting out an app, then taking and getting funding and becoming a $100 million a year ARR company overnight, which is what everybody says you can do.
Yeah.
But what I am talking about is a team of engineers using code with the right frameworks to accelerate their development, not 40x, not 10x, but reduce a 9-month project to about 3 months. And we're seeing that over and over again being very successful. Now, if you're sitting down and you're trying to use Netcore, and you're trying to do MVC and old school tech, technology from 10 years ago,
It's a model view controller. That's a
it's not going to work well. But if you sit down and you use like your T3, Tailwinds,
Yep.
TypeScript, and TPRC, and you build a mono repo, and you have your rulers set properly, you have your architecture done correctly, you can build a scalable app, and an engineering team can do this very quickly. How now you're doing a lot with AI, but are you using AI to accelerate the development, or are you exclusively using AI as a part of the solution?
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because on my YouTube channel, Protocoding, I've talked about this quite a bit. A lot of developers I work with, I mean, I'll give you just an example. On our mobile app, we wanted to get this whole consolidated off between multiple environments.
Yep.
And even good engineers, again,
Yeah,
like
they mess that up
thing,
a lot.
the thing is they'll start over-relying on it, and then it hallucinates, it gets in loops, it's giving you slop back, and you're never getting the solution done. A lot of our newer projects, and it's crazy to me, 2 of our newer projects are people that they're founders and they've used Lovable to build the app, and they go,
Yep.
okay, well now I need to actually hook things up. Can you do this? And we look at it, and it's honestly faster for us to completely rebuild it
Yep.
than to go in and then remove all the stuff they had. Like he tried to do, I mean, for example, something very standard, Google OAuth, and he had so much code in there that was doing nothing.
Yep.
I mean, probably 1,000 lines of code doing nothing. And I'm just like, all right, well, do you want us to spend the time and we'll charge you extra to remove it, or do you want us to just completely rebuild it?
Yeah.
So I think over-reliance on AI is the big issue. Even if you have that engineer that knows what they're doing, knows the guardrails, knows all that, the problem is they still become too self-reliant after a certain point, because I think it's maybe prompting fatigue. After enough prompts, you're just like, like you get an error, you copy-paste the error. And it's like, how do I fix?
Yep. So, so you're hand coding. You're not using.
We are using it, but we're using it less and less, I would say, which is probably surprising because I feel like people are using it more and more. I've found to use it less and less. I mean, just for examples, I talked to one of my engineers. He is like, I'm done using Cursor. Like, he's a strict, does not use any AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave him a Cursor script, like, use this. Like, everyone uses Claude. They really have good things about it. And after a week, he's like, no, it slowed me down. Like, me going and looking at the docs to implement it was faster.
So my engineers were telling me the same thing. And so
Really? Oh, nice.
I sat down and I wrote the playbook on how we're using AI. And I didn't just say, hey, software team, use it as you want. I said, this is how you will use it, and here's the playbook. And I have one person who is not he's not coding anything. He's not using AI for anything. Maybe he's doing code reviews with ChatGPT's code review platform, Maybe he's doing it in cloud. I don't know, but I know that his job is to ensure the quality and concisiveness of the code. All of my engineers, they are AI software developers, or I replace them. And I promise you, I can code faster and more scalable code than you can by hand. I promise you, I can.
So, do you ever have an issue? I mean, I'll give you an example. We were using. I mean, I don't know how. You probably code a lot. So we were using Redux Saga, which is like a middleware for state management of a front-end application. And it took me a week to figure this out, but what I found out was the engineer that was doing it prompted it in the wrong context. And because of that, they threw in an unbelievably hard to track down memory link in the application.
Yeah, so the Chaos Report was produced back in 1997 for the first time. Said that 80% of software projects fail. Most of the time, leading cause is lack of analysis. That has been perpetuated. 2 years later, Agile comes out and says, hey, let's do less analysis. And over time, software development teams got more efficient. Projects kept failing at the same rate. Now you look at startups, 80% of startups fail. 40% of the time it's because of a lack of product market fit. People are not doing market research, they're not going out and finding out what their audience needs and developing that. 40% of the time is lack of execution. 20% of the time it's founder fatigue, fundraising issues, regulation comes in and changes the industry on you overnight, something like that. But 80% of the time when a startup fails is because they can't get a product that matters in front of an audience that cares. And a lot of that is still related to a lack of analysis. So we front load the analysis. I do Agile while operating under extreme uncertainty with the intention of getting out of the uncertainty as fast as possible. I want clarity and I want it now. I want to know exactly what my client needs. And I know it's going to change. I'm married. I'm very familiar with the fact that if I do something that's going to give us some insights to allow me to change things and do it again. But I can tell my client, okay, here's the design. Here are my 9 features. And here are the elements and requirements for these features. And now I go to the engineer and I say, you're not a front-end engineer, you're not a back-end engineer, you're not a full stack, you're not a mobile dev. You are a feature 2 engineer. And this is your feature and you own it. And so the context that they're on is in the context of that feature and just that feature. And he's not trying to do the back end. He's not trying to do the front end. He's building that feature, and he is doing that with AI. And so his context is down very detailed into the thing that he's doing. And as soon as he has something ready to test on that, he passes that back to the technical team lead, who's doing the code review, applying the rulers, applying the quality controls. We do automated testing and then pass it to QA, so we can do regression every time we do a check-in. So we know that we're delivering high quality code. What we're doing we're not having those context errors because we don't have somebody working over the entire context. They're working in the context of the module that they're creating.
Gotcha. I would say using AI for PR reviews has been big for us. I would say that's definitely one thing that's come in to really help with the code quality. But being so fractional as we are, we're working on, the average developer at Protocoding probably has 3 different projects he's working on simultaneously. So to just own one feature, I feel like gets difficult. So,
well, no.
Have you had ways
he owns the entire feature, but that doesn't mean he only owns one feature. We've got 7 projects we're running at the same time too. So,
do you feel like it's hard for them to context switch between that? Because that's definitely something I've found, that when they're context switching, like when they're so focused on, they get a large scale feature to develop on one application, then it's like, oh, now we need you to come in and do that. I feel a lot of the time that causes issue. And if they're coding it themselves, they might have more context of it rather than if, they've relied on AI to write things for them.
In my experience, no. The README files are more detailed. the analysis is more detailed. Your stories, PBIs are a lot more detailed. Allows you to get the context faster. But the other thing that we do is if somebody comes in and says, we want you to write this in Ruby on Rails, and we want you to do all of this in Python.
Ruby.
I'm going to say, you know what? I know somebody from Protocoding who's going to be the right fit for you, but we use this stack.
So you only use one stack.
Yeah.
What is the tech stack, if you don't mind me asking?
We'll use T3, for example, and we're using React Native. And
I was going to ask, when you talked about mobile development, I was going to wonder if you used native or React Native. We've been using React Native a lot as well.
Yeah, I was a Flutter advocate completely.
We love Flutter too,
love
yeah.
it. Until React Native 1. Like getting resources on that framework is half the price of resources on Flutter.
There's just more community support.
A lot more community support, but also universities in Central America are teaching that as native part of their curriculum.
Well, it's easier for front-end engineers, I feel, too. Like, if I'm going to bring a front-end engineer into
And then with TypeScript,
mobile, it's easier.
they're easier not just on the front end, but also on the back end. And what I don't do anymore is I inherited a project. We do some startup rescues. I inherited a project where they had Laravel on the back end and Flutter Flow on the front end and Supabase for the database, and it was a fiasco. And the mobile developer only did mobile, wouldn't even touch the services.
Interesting.
And then the back end developer wouldn't touch the mobile. And hey, I've got this bug, I need it fixed. All the mobile devs off today, and the back end dev doesn't touch that. And so I'm like, screw this. Hey, guess what? You are a full stack
Full
dev,
stack, yes.
and mobile all the way back to the database, to the reports and analytics. This is your stack. And if I give you a ticket and you need help, then you will go and get the help, but you are responsible for this ticket. And if Dev 1 is out of town for a month, you're delivering this thing.
That probably works really well for you because of the same tech stack that you use for every project.
Yeah. And we're not going to
I wonder if we should do that more. That's just, I wonder, because really we pull what's ever best. Like, for example, we've been using Node a lot. Now we use Go. Go's been big now. We have a bunch of Spring Boot servers that we've used Python for.
Yeah,
like
you pivot into Rust and you get all this stuff.
Natural language processing and things like that. But I feel, maybe not vibe coding, but learning code with an LLM. At this point, if you said, go build this in Rust, or go build this with Haskell, and again, this is me, I haven't been coding in a minute because I've been more focused on the business portions, I could do it with an LLM. It empowers me to do that. So really, anyone could be language agnostic at this point, I feel like, because of how well you could learn to code. I wouldn't say vibe code it if you don't understand what's going on, but to learn, how hard was it to find resources on stuff 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Stack Overflow, that's gone now.
Very, very hard. Yeah, and that's actually one of the reasons why we started working in Central America, is because getting a data engineer in 2018 was impossible. It was very, very hard, especially in smaller markets like Little Rock, Arkansas. I interviewed 45 data engineers, and it always ended up being something crazy like someone with 20 years of experience in data engineering, and I asked him the difference between a table and a view, and he couldn't tell me.
Well, it said he had 20 years. Who knows if
the
that's
same
actual
year
20 years.
times.
The same year 20 times. Couldn't pass the grade, yeah.
But so if somebody has an existing tech stack, they come to us and they say, we need to do this. If the contract is right, then we go and hire a dedicated team for that. But if a startup is coming and say, I need to deliver this, I need to deliver it fast, and I have a budget, awesome, you're coming into our delivery team. We're going to use the framework that we know we can deliver that quickly and stably, and something scalable. And if you could get 6% uplift by using Rust over using T3 and doing a native development, then 6% is not worth the additional risk. We're going to go ahead and do it in the framework that we know we can deliver it quickly. And also, I tell you, using a mono repo with Cursor will change your delivery. Speed. Promise.
Well, if you have services, microservices that are always up, isn't that just a mono repo with more steps?
Not necessarily, because the mono repo has the front end and the back end in the same repo.
Yeah, you just have the microservices in the same repo, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's some frameworks that allow you to get the mono repo from your separate repos now, and so there's a lot of things that allow for that. This has been a fun conversation. I don't get to talk with technical people that often. I kind of, honestly, I stay away from folks with technical founders because most of the time the technical founder isn't that technical, and I end up getting in arguing matches with them, and I don't like it. I don't want to have to have a battle
Yeah.
of wills to get a software done. So having the chance to sit down and talk about the advancements, I can promise you, if you and I were approaching the same startup and we were taking the same product to market, the way that we leverage Cursor, I'll do it faster. And
Well,
it might
are
be
you?
fun.
Yeah, tell me. I need to know about your AI playbook that you're running that you
Yep.
developed.
Well, let's sit down and play with that. Yeah.
We'll love to. We'll have to connect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we can even do like a hackathon face-off and have some fun. That could be cool. Awesome. Well,
That would be a blast.
yeah. That's how we won all these belts.
Oh, that's what they're for.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Have you heard of Code Launch?
No, I haven't
Let's talk
actually.
about that offline. You'll have a good time.
Yeah. No, I thought these were like WWE belts here.
No, these are startup hackathon belts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we won all of them last year.
Well, congrats.
Awesome. All right, so this is the type of conversation that we've been having at Austin Tech Week all week long. There's a lot of founders and a lot of people out there supporting the founder to ensure that founders are able to deliver meaningful solutions to people that need them. We are right outside of the Connector Lab on the 5th floor in the game room here at Capital Factory. Come on by. We're going to be here all day today and tomorrow. This is the Catalyst Effect. I am your host, Isaac Carter, and we are live at Austin Tech Week here at Capital Factory. We're on the 5th floor right outside of the Connector Plus Lounge, and this is our last interview of the day, but we will be here all day tomorrow. And I am here with an amazing founder, Erin Burnett. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Erin.
Yes, I own a company called Everson Solutions,
Okay.
and we help small and mid-sized businesses who are going through growth build the people, systems, and processes they need to transform in that change.
So like Marcus Lamona says, people, processes, and product, the 3 Ps, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. And do you quote the prophet very often? The prophet, Marcus Lemonis? No. Okay, so, I am a founder. I've had a vision. I go out and I sell some services. And I sell my products. And next thing you know, I'm growing. And I've got 25, 30 people, and chaos ensues. And then I try to get my next client, but I can't even handle the clients that I have. And I'm not sleeping, and I'm losing money, even though I'm making more than ever. You can tell I've lived this before.
Yes.
And so you're going to come in and bring some stability to my life, right?
Yes, absolutely. So what we do is we kind of start with the basics of your culture. So one of the things I hear the most from founders is, as we're growing, how do I make sure that I am keeping the same culture that made me unique in the first place?
Right.
So we operationalize that. We put the things into place, the systems and the programs to help build that culture and make it sustainable. And then we look at your systems as a whole. What technology do you need to not take you just from where you are with 20 employees, but what is the limit that you're looking for, the sky ahead that's 200 employees? How do we get you to create those systems and processes now so that you don't have to stop and rebuild every 10 people that you hire?
Yeah, and also, like what we found is I bring in, we do a lot of work with after-school programs, orphanages, universities in Central America. So we bring in somebody that's just hungry for opportunity, and we train them. And our point is to be constantly improving and constantly moving. And what happens is somebody gets into a position, they excel at that, and then we want to move them to the next position. And now what we've done is we've moved them out of somewhere where they're successful into somewhere else. And now I've got 2 positions where I have people that aren't prepared for it. And obviously, we have grown past that. But we've learned very quickly that the tribal mentality of here's something, go figure it out, doesn't scale, but culture can scale.
Yes.
So how do I build my? We've got a startup that we're running right now. We want to help churches raise funds for mission trips, specifically called Mission Play. And I want this to scale because the larger we are, the more good is going to go out into the world. So what are some things that I can put into my business from day one? We're launching on November 1st. From day one to make sure that I'm building a culture that scales.
You have to start with values and aligning with people's purpose. People need to understand why they're there and how they are able to connect to your mission. And then as you start to define it for them, you start looking for the opportunities for them to be able to live that every day.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by operationalizing it, is putting the things into place so that they're able to know what their guardrails are and then make decisions based on those core values that you create for them, so that they have that autonomy to be able to go out and do great things while also still aligning with what your expectations are for the business.
I remember one of the first things I asked ChatGPT was, how do I force my employees to do what I ask them to do? And looking back, I'm ashamed of myself because I realized I was trying to tell them how to do their job,
Right.
instead of putting them on a mission. And what I've learned now, like, I don't ever have to go to Rebecca or Valerie or any of my amazing team and tell them how to do their job. I sit with them and I explain to them what I'm trying to accomplish, and then I get out of their way.
Absolutely.
And obviously, if we see something that's working well, we sit down and we say, okay, how are you doing this? Okay, is there something we can do to help you do it better? How do I make sure that when you get promoted or you are invited to travel to the US for something, that the work still gets done? But that is a lot more about empowerment than about micromanagement and about control.
Absolutely. And I think another important factor is listening. Learning what is working and what is not working. Because what might have worked when you were the founder and you started it, once you have 10 people doing it, it may not work for them the same way, but you can create this open and honest dialogue where you can learn from them just as much as they can learn from you. And then you create the technology to be able to support those changes, so that people are not having to do data entry in 3 different places. Find the things that are going to scale and make their jobs easier. They will feel more fulfilled, and they will want to do more work in exchange.
So when we first got started with Cantalo, I was doing a lot of outreach on university campuses, and we met some really talented young people. And the ones that we connected with the most, that seemed the most energetic and the most talented, we would bring them in to give them internships and give them a chance to prove themselves, and then get them into jobs. And what we found as we grew is I couldn't have somebody stay in their position because I needed them to be preparing themselves for the next role. So I have my very, very first intern, awesome man. He's been with me since 2018. And now he just got his master's degree in business intelligence. And now he is, and I would tell him all the time, I don't need the you are today. I need the you that you can be 5 years from now. And so constantly developing him. And guess what? He is not a junior reports developer today. He is a level 3 data engineer getting ready to move into architecture and team leadership. And that was very strategic. One, ensuring that I never painted him into the position that he was in, that we never had him so strict in the one thing that he did that I couldn't afford to move him out of it. And software developers are notorious for trying to have job stability by writing things only they understand. And then the next thing that we did was purposefully training him and the next person. So when my second intern came to me and said, I have a career opportunity. Like, he was a student when he came to work for me. And went all the way through the ranks up to a technical team lead, and he was my AI technical team lead for a couple of years, and then he came and said, I have an opportunity. And I feel bad because I don't want to leave you all. But this opportunity, it's not just about the money, it's not just about the position, but it's about It's doing something with food security in Central America, something he was passionate about. So the money was there, the position is there, but it was in line with his passion. And I was able to say, brother, we're always going to be a part of your story, but you have to take it. You have to go. And then I turned to my mid-developer, you've been prepared for this, you're ready, take it and go. Turned to my junior buddy, you're doing a great job, you're ready to be a mid. Turned to the next intern that was there, hey, you're a junior, reached out to the university, and in 4 hours, everything was solved, completely solved. And it was because we built a culture around growth. So I tell my technical team leads, every project, I need 3 things. I need completed technology, I need an improved team, and I need better processes every time. And if they complete the project, but they didn't improve the team, that's failure. And if they improved the team and they completed the project, but they didn't refine the process, that's not success.
Absolutely.
And if you build your culture around we are continuously improving and continuously building up so that we can continuously create better opportunities for the people, scaling is just a matter of, it's more transactional at that point, just a matter of you're ready, step into this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a big believer that, one, internships are such a great opportunity to bring new vision and new ways of thinking into your organization.
Especially today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And having that continuous growth mindset is so critical because the day of hiring for skill sets is over. We're
Right.
now hiring for potential. And
Yeah.
you need to be looking for the people that align with that purpose and then also have the potential to take on those new responsibilities and have that growth mindset where they can be able to learn new things and bring in new ideas to your organization.
When I was a young founder, when somebody came to me and told me this isn't working, I would get upset with them. I've fired people over that before when I was a young, arrogant, and it was embarrassing. Now I realize I need people that will come and challenge me. If I'm right, then I need them to understand why I'm right. I don't want them to just keep quiet. If I'm wrong, then I need them to demonstrate to me why I am, because guess what? The company that I have today is not the same as the company I had 3 years ago, and it's not, the change is coming too fast, especially in the consulting space. It's coming too fast. So we have to surround ourselves with people that are learning, growing, challenging us, and pushing to improve every step. It's hard for a founder to see past the fact that they were the visionary that invented the company to begin with. How do you help the founder past that?
The first thing I always say is I have always hired to be the dumbest person in the room. I want to surround myself by people that are constantly challenging me because we can never see all sides behind us, right? And being able to, sometimes that's one-on-one coaching with them to talk through what are those concerns that they're having. And sometimes it is truly just the permission to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is okay to not have all the answers. And I think especially, like we just heard from your last person up here, that like when you're the first person doing it, when you're the one out there on the bleeding edge, you feel like you have to have all the answers all the time.
Right.
But as you grow and you've proven your concept, then you actually can let go a little bit and let some other people in to give you some new ideas how to continue to move and change.
Yeah, and I've always said the most dangerous thing that you can do is innovate alone.
Absolutely.
And that's not just about having your team, but also having your ecosystem and ensuring that you have a support system. What are some support systems and tools that you recommend to the founders you work with?
I believe in mastermind groups and getting together with other people that can share ideas with you. You can tell I'm obviously very collaborative in the way that I operate. I don't believe in just telling people prescriptive what they should do. I want you to get the smartest people in the room and synergize around that. So whatever that mechanism looks like for you as a founder, and then creating that operating system inside your organization where where you're continually having people bring forward new ideas, process improvements, make it a requirement as part of their performance that every week I want to hear a new idea from you. We may not take all of them, but I want to hear it. I want your mind constantly thinking about ways that we can change and innovate.
And building a leadership structure around that kind of feedback loop
Exactly.
has to be strategic, because you could be generating a lot of noise.
Exactly. And keeping the organization manageable but flat, so that you're not creating all these layers of decision making that creates that corporate bureaucracy that we're all trying to get away from.
Yeah, and what I found is I can't mentor and grow more than 5 people at a time. But they can do 2 or 3 at the same time. So having some layers, not everybody can report to the CEO. For example, Javi, my sales director, understands sales, she understands marketing. The best thing I can do is support her is stay out of her way. Let her build her team. Let her build her department. Customer support, same thing, man. At some point, I just keep it running. Just go. I've got people that do that. Finance, you do not want me messing around in there. So finding and empowering the right people and letting them build their team, propose their budgets, and make sure that they've got the support. It was hard to let go, but now you couldn't go back. Not at this point. We've got 65 people. I can't manage them all.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So how long have you been doing this? How long have you been in business?
So my company has been in business for 3 years. Prior to that, over 20 years in HR.
Okay. So you've got the experience from an HR perspective, and now you're stepping in. Now, do you focus on the human resources side, or are you really focused on the entire operations, from the process improvement, recruiting, and all of it?
Currently HR, but we have plans to expand next year into basically an advisory panel. So small and mid-sized businesses can outsource some of those functions that they can't afford yet. So whether it's your chief people officer, your CFO, COO, have that panel of experts that are available to you for the difficult decisions and giving you guidance along the way as you're growing till you reach the point to be able to hire all those people internally.
Amazing. I love it. So where do people find you?
Eversonsolutions.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, this is our last interview here for day 2 on the Catalyst Effect. We are at Austin Tech Week, sponsored by Capital Factory. All day tomorrow, we will be in the game room outside of the Connector Plus Lounge, right by the elevators on the 5th floor. Come on out and see us.